Curry missed, I think, his third shot in the final rack, and we were like, oh, okay. So he missed one, and he hits the second to last one. I was like, okay, if he hits this money ball, he wins it. If he misses, Conley wins it. Hello and welcome to the Monday, March 8th edition of the TV on Basketball podcast with your host, TV. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hope you guys enjoyed the Allstar Sunday Night festivities. And thank you for clicking on and watching or listening to today's episode. Before we start, I have to plug my other platforms. Remember to follow at TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates on the podcast and for other great content. If you're on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss an episode. That would be highly appreciated. And for all my podcast listeners, continue to show your support in any way possible. If you're on Apple, leave a review, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Again, send me a review if you left one, and I'll definitely give you a shout out. And as for my Spotify, Anchor, and Podbean listeners, continue to do your thing. Thank you guys for all your support. And I have an awesome show lined up for you guys today. I'm going to start off by talking about the All-Star Sunday Night festivities. We're going to go through each of the events. Then we're going to talk about the Blake Griffin signing and him going to the Brooklyn Nets. And then I'm going to be doing a more in-depth power rankings look. And for this one, it's going to be kind of a mid-season reset. I am basing off my power rankings this week on kind of how the teams did in the regular season, and as a mixture of like how well they did, expectations, yada yada yada. Yeah, so it's going to be an awesome episode. So sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. Let's start off with the All-Star Weekend events because mixed results for sure. It was a fun night all around, but it kind of tailed off, and we'll get to that later on. But some notes before we go into the actual competitions. Embiid and Simmons could not play in the All-Star game because of contact tracing, and they both got a barber. They both were in contact with the same barber who contracted the virus, so they're going to be under the league's health and safety protocols, and they could not participate in the event. I think they're still quarantining in Atlanta as well. So yeah, that was highly unfortunate. Obviously, one of the NBA's biggest fears was that, especially where there's so many a place where there's so many star players, that an outbreak would take place. No news on that. Hopefully we don't see any of those crazy news from the aftermath. But yeah, Embiid and Simmons sadly couldn't play. Hopefully they get better soon, and hopefully they don't test positive. Also, something that kind of happened at the last minute. Mike Conley, for the first time in his 14-year career, became an NBA All-Star, and that was because Devin Booker had an injury at the very last minute, so he had to pull out from the All-Star game. But there was just enough time for someone to replace him, and that person turned out to be Mike Conley. Obviously, he has that reputation of being probably one of the best guys in NBA history without a All-Star game, an All-Star, appearance, and he's finally got that. Congrats to him. Obviously, it's a second replacement. But yeah, I feel happy for the guy. He's having a pretty good year this year. 16 points, 6 assists, basically 3.5 rebounds, shooting very good from the 3-point line. I believe the best in his career, and he's just been playing really, really well this season. But I don't want to be kind of the negative Nancy and all that. I mean, Mike Conley, obviously one of the most respected guys in the league, and probably one of the most non-hated. I mean, no one hates Mike Conley. There's no person I could tell you, that will hate Mike Conley. But I still wouldn't have gone for him. And here's why. 3 Jazz players. I mean, they already have 2 Jazz players in the game. Yeah. But Mike Conley's performance this season does not trump out some guys that possibly had a chance over him. One of them being DeMar DeRozan. And that was the one guy I really wish was here. Right now, the Spurs sit 8th in the West. Or 7th in the West. And they don't have any representatives. They do not, which is crazy because everyone else in that top 8 has at least one. DeMar DeRozan is having an underrated season, and the way that he's leading that Spurs team, I think, allows him to be a second replacement in the West. But no, I mean, like I said, I can't hate on Mike Conley too much. He This is something that's well overdue. But man, DeMar should have been in there. DeMar DeRozan should have 100% been in that spot. I mean, this season, 20 points per game, 7 assists, which is like top 5 or 6 in the league, 5 rebounds. This guy is playing fantastic, but he's not in this game, which is unfortunate, which is highly, highly unfortunate. And he voiced his displeasure on Twitter, but yeah, he definitely deserved to be there. I'm sorry. As much as I like Mike Conley, and maybe there's a bit of bias with the DeMar DeRozan pick, but I think a lot of people would tend to agree with me that although Conley's having a good year, you can make the argument for DeMar. Brandon Ingram, maybe not, depending if you really care about the Pelicans' record. I don't think that they deserve to. But even someone like a De'Aaron Fox should have been in technically over Conley. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I mean, either way, congrats to Mike Conley. But now I don't know. I don't know if you guys want to like debate with me or not. Leave it down below. But I think that whole like Mike Conley, best player to never win an All-Star thing, I like that moniker for him. I thought it was something that he would be kind of known for. But now that he's like a one-time All-Star, he doesn't have like that same feel anymore. I don't know, but congrats to him anyway. It's something that, especially being in that Western Conference with all those like loaded guards over the last decade or so, Mike Conley just couldn't sneak in there. But I'm glad that he was able to get in now. But yeah, there's that. And let's get into the actual event. So, we started off with the skills challenge. We had 6 guys in this year's field. Representing the bigs, we had Nikola Vucevic, Domantas Sabonis, Robert Covington. For the guard side of things, we had Steph Curry, Chris Paul, and we also had there's one other guy. We had Doncic, Covington. No, there's another big. It was Julius Randle. Julius Randle. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. But basically how it worked was Vucevic and Covington in the first round, Sabonis, Randle, and they would move on to face either Chris Paul or Luka Doncic. For some reason, they got first round buys. I don't know why they couldn't make it an 8-man field, but it is what it is. And yes, Sabonis was the winner of this event, and he went absolutely off. I mean, both in the round versus Julius Randle and when he later on faced Luka Doncic, he literally went through the entire course, no mistakes at all. He went through the dribbling course. You know, he didn't lose the ball in any way. He always got the first pass. I mean, even in the final round, he got the first pass. He always got the first pass, and then in the first 2 rounds, he didn't miss a 3. So this guy was absolutely killing it. You could say the same thing for Vucevic on the other end. I mean, he beat Covington firstly, and then he went out to beat Chris Paul just barely, just because Chris Paul missed a layup. Chris Paul missed a layup when he was like dribbling it back down the court. And Vucevic was able to take advantage and hit the 3 before Chris Paul did. And I told you guys, if you listened to the last episode, the bigs always want to show up the guards here. And I think that Sabonis and Vucevic had like extra motivation just because they wanted to prove that, you know, big men's got those skills as well. So yeah, the championship round was Vucevic versus Sabonis. I think both guys were absolutely flawless in the first section, and it really came down to the 3-point shot because they both were missing their first few attempts. But then Sabonis just snuck one under Vucevic's shot and was able to win it. I mean, the skills challenge isn't the most exciting competition in the world, but you know what you're getting out of it. You always have low expectations for it, and most of the time, you know, they exceed your expectations. So that was definitely a fun event. Congratulations to Sabonis as another big. I think this is like the 4th year in a row a big has won it, because Karl Anthony Towns won it the first time, then Porzingis, and then Tatum won it, even though he's not really a big, but he was part of the big category, so he counted towards there. And now we got Domantas Sabonis, so no, we also have Bam Adebayo, so there's 5. The last 5 in a row have been big men. But yeah, Sabonis, congratulations on winning the event. It was honestly pleasantly surprisingly good. Then we go to the 3-point contest, and man, it showed out. It absolutely showed out this event. This event was absolutely fantastic, and it was everything you can really hope for. In this field, we had Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, and we also had Zach LaVine. And this event, I mean, it was really, really fun. We started off with Jaylen Brown, who was a bit underwhelming, 17 points. He's probably the worst shooter from the field, but he's not a bad shooter. And you could tell even from the get-go, this guy just really doesn't belong in these category for this type of shooting. And 17 points is okay. But yeah, could have definitely done about a lot better. Jason Tatum was on fire in the first round, scoring 25, and that was enough to take him to the next round. Levine and Mitchell both scored 22, which is not bad, but could have definitely gone better. But then you had Conley and Mitchell. Not Conley. Conley and Steph Curry. Firstly, Mike Conley in the first round went absolutely off and scored 28. Like, that was a really, really good showing from Mike Conley. But then Steph looked at that and was like, look, I could do better. He drops 31. He drops 31 in the first quarter, and you could just tell it just felt unfair. Like, Curry just went on an absolute barrage from three. I know he missed one of the Curry range shots, or whatever, the Mountain Dew ball, but yeah, he made that look super easy. He went on these stretches where he just felt like he couldn't miss. And it honestly felt like, at the end of the day, Curry was just going to completely dominate the competition and win it. Then we move on to the second round, and Tatum struggled. He struggled in this one. 17 points, same as Jaylen Brown when he first went. But it really came down to Curry and Conley. And literally everyone wanted Conley to do well just so he could put pressure on Steph. And he did that. 27 points Mike Conley got in this one. Like, it was crazy. It was crazy, and it felt like, okay, I think that's enough to put pressure on Steph. Because although Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, 27 is a lot in this competition. So Steph Curry went through this. He actually kind of went a bit... he started off a bit slow. I think he missed 3 out of his first 5 shots. But what really saved him in this was the Mountain Dew balls. I mean, that's what kind of, like, really brought him to that point in the end. Because it literally came down to the last shot. It came down to the last shot. Like, Curry missed, I think, his 3rd shot in the final rack. And we were like, oh, okay. So he missed one. And he hits the second to last one. I was like, okay, if he hits this money ball, he wins it. If he misses, Conley wins it. And Steph Curry hits it. He does his little, fist bump to the air, says hi to his wife, and he is now a 2-time 3-point contest champion. 7-time. This is 7th time in the event, and he has won it twice now, which is very, very cool. If he wins one more, he gets he's gonna have the most 3-point contests of all time, tied with Craig Hodges and Larry Bird. But Steph, man, he should just go in this event every year because he's always a fun watch, whether he wins or loses. You got to have the best shooter in the league there. And, man, Conley did put up a fight. But, yeah, it was a really good event, and I was happy to watch it. Then, before we go into the All-Star game, that dunk contest. Was it great? No. Was it good? Probably not. But the scoring was very suspect in this event. Very, very suspect. So we had Anthony Simons, Cassius Stanley, and Obi Toppin. Cassius Stanley hit this clean, between the legs dunk to start off with. I was like, oh, that's not a bad start. I thought I was going to get at least a 48. And no, the judges gave him a 44. Then we had Obi Toppin. He did a kind of a bounce pass between his legs and then followed it up with a reverse. I was like, okay, that's not bad, but I still didn't consider that better than Cassius Stanley's. But they gave him a 48. I was like, okay. And then Anthony Simons went. He, I believe, did he did some other dunk. I forgot what he did, honestly. It's very not memorable. But he still got a higher score than Cassius Stanley, and I was just kind of confused by that. I don't know. It didn't feel right to me. So Cassius Stanley already at a disadvantage, even though I thought he had the best dunk of the first round, probably the most clean. But we digress. Going to the second round, Cassius Stanley tried to go crazy. He honestly tried to go crazy. He tried to do a bounce pass and then tried to do under both legs, kind of floating through the air, but by himself. If he got that would have been an automatic 50. But then he kind of got in his own head and it's just did a classic tomahawk and then just ended up getting a 33 or something, which is unfortunate. Yeah, so that's how his night ended. Obi Toppin, a bit of a better dunk here. I believe, I don't remember the dunk, but it was a bit better than his first one, to be honest, and he was able to get it in. No, he dunked over his dad. He dunked over his dad and Julius Randle. It was a pretty clean windmill, to be completely honest, especially the way he kind of cuffed it like this. So I like that dunk. And then the Anthony Simons one, he did a tribute to Tracy McGrady from the 2000 dunk contest, I believe, where he kind of did the double pump 360. Didn't look as clean. I mean, with the Tracy McGrady dunk, I do remember that dunk pretty clearly. He just looks so cool because he's a lanky dude. And Simons is lengthy, but he didn't have like the legs kind of to like make it look as cool, but still a good dunk nonetheless. So we had Anthony Simons and Obi Toppin in the final. Obi Toppin comes into the final. He starts up from like the other side of the court, and when that happens, you automatically know he's gonna do a free throw line dunk or some sort of variation on it. He goes up, does a 360, a between the legs from just inside the free throw line. And yeah, I mean, it was a really good dunk. I know Levine did that a couple years ago to win it, but it kind of didn't look as cool. It didn't look as clean, but it was still a very, very impressive dunk. And then Anthony Simons. How do I explain this? This dunk, oh yeah, I think the first dunk he did was like he just got it from like this rim, which is above the rim, and then just slammed it down like that. But yeah. But this dunk, I think what he tried to do here was something pretty interesting. At least the intent was. He tried to kiss the rim. I mean, he jumped really high. He was like this close to like kissing the rim. I think that was his goal. And then dunking it down. But he was kind of a little bit too far. And if he like tried to go a bit closer, I think he was just going to hit himself in his own face. But he still finished the dunk. And apparently that was enough to win it. And he won the dunk contest. I personally would have... if he had kissed the rim, I would have given it to him, like, no doubt. But if you just look at the dunk, I mean, the Toppin one was better. Even though it wasn't, like, great competition, it still was better. And, yeah, that was about it. And Anthony Simons is your winner. So Anthony Simons. Yeah, it wasn't a good dunk contest. It was probably one of the worst ones in a while. But congratulations to him. Last year, Derrick Jones won it. He couldn't participate this year. And now the Trailblazers have the last two dunk champions. What's it? I guess so. But now let's go to the All-Star game. And this one was pretty fun, at least for the first half. The first half, I think Team LeBron won the first two quarters by a combined 2 or 3 points. So it was actually pretty close there. You got to see some great highlights. Steph Curry just hitting threes for fun. I think he tied the record for most threes in the All-Star game in the first half. Like, that's how much fun they were having. And then, after that, I mean, we also got some like good dunks, good highlights. Giannis acting like a try-hard. Maybe he was just having fun, but he just couldn't miss anything. He didn't miss a single shot in this game. And then the third quarter hit, and then, yeah, that's when Team LeBron started to take over. I believe at the end of the third quarter, they were up by like 19 or 20. So Team KD had to score like 49 or something just so they could win this game. And of course, because of the Elam ending and the tribute to Kobe, LeBron's team just needed to score the next 24. And they actually did that quite easily. And the game ended 170 to 150 with Giannis Antetokounmpo winning his first All-Star MVP. 35 points, 7 rebounds, 16 for 16 from the field. It was kind of no doubt in my mind it was going to be Giannis. Steph Curry would have been nice in the conversation, but it is what it is. And the game-winning shot. I'm happy this one didn't end in free throws. Lillard hits it from half court. You know what time it is. It's always Dame time. And Team LeBron comes out with the win quite comfortably. Once Devin Booker was out, once KD was out, and then Joel Embiid. It felt kind of unfair, but Team LeBron, has most of the highlights. It was so much fun. I mean, at the end of the first half, there was like a 3 plays in a row where the guards just started dunking for fun. Like the Chris Paul inbound lob to Steph Curry was really fun to watch, and then Steph Curry returned the favor and threw Chris Paul a lob, and I think after that, I think it was Lillard or something went up like another guard, so that was fun. I mean, it was a fun game. It wasn't as competitive as it was last year. But there was also a kind of a discrepancy in terms of the team. LeBron only played 13 minutes in this one as well, and I think he sat out the entire second half. But at the end of the day, it was a fun event. Team LeBron wins. And, happily for the charities to get a lot of good money. I know Team LeBron, I think, raised over $1 million because of that for charity, for his charity. And then the other team got $500K for their charity. So, in terms of All-Star Weekend as a whole, I think from the dunk contest onwards, it was pretty rough. But the first half, at least for the first 3 quarters of it, was actually really fun. It was a really fun event. Do I still think they should have done this? I have my quarrels about it, but at the end of the day, it was a fun event. It was happy to see that these guys were having fun with it too. So yeah, good. It was a good event all around. Let's move to this. Because in the midst of all this All-Star talk, a signing did happen over the weekend. Blake Griffin, yes. Blake Griffin cleared his waivers with the Detroit Pistons a couple days back, and he didn't find it didn't take long for him to find a home as Blake Griffin signs for the remainder of the season with the Brooklyn Nets. Yes, he signs with the Brooklyn Nets, and he's joining that super team. And man, if you told me that this was going to be a team possibility in 2016, I would have been shivering in my boots. I mean, just think about it. Kyrie, Harden, Durant, Blake, and DeAndre Jordan. Like, this is a 2016 dream team. But it's 2021, and Blake hasn't really shown us much this year. 12 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Very, very bad shooting percentages. I mean, he showed, like, a bit of something last year, but he was injured for, like, the majority of the season. He only played 18 games. But man, this guy was good in like 2019, 24 points a game, which is a career high, and he actually played really good until he got injured and right before the playoffs. But it's been like what two seasons removed from that, and he has taken a massive dip. Now, I'm happy he's going to chase a ring, but in terms of the grand scheme of things for the Brooklyn Nets, this doesn't change much. This doesn't change much whatsoever. What they really needed was a rim protecting big and some just perimeter defense. And Blake Griffin doesn't really address any of those issues. I mean, is Blake Griffin even going to be good off the ball? I don't know. But I think at the end of the day, I think he'll understand his role and like what he has to do. So I don't think this signing hurts the Nets in any way. But they still have a hole in their defense. And who knows? There could be another buyout candidate, whether it's JaVale McGee, whether it's Andre Drummond. Those are some players that would be very interesting for the Nets to get. But in terms of like this Blake Griffin signing, I mean, like I said, he was an All-Star 3 seasons ago, but he's kind of had a big drop-off since then. And if you can get anywhere close to that, of course, the Brooklyn Nets will take it. But it's not an immediate need type thing. So it's a good signing. It's a good signing for the Brooklyn Nets. Gives them more depth, if anything, which is fantastic. But I don't think it moves the needle in any way. It really doesn't. The Andre Drummond signing would have really changed that for me, mostly because of the fact that I think he provides what the Nets are missing in terms of an interior presence. But Blake is not going to play defense. Blake is just not. And he'll give you something on the offensive end, hopefully, as another playmaker, as if the Nets don't need more of that. But yeah, I'm just happy that he probably has a chance at a ring. And another question I think that was proposed to me on the Sportsnet app, SportsMe app, like, how is the Nets going to use him? Is he going to end games for them? Is he going to start? And my answer to that is I don't know. But with the way their lineup is set into fourth, obviously they're 3 stars, DeAndre Jordan, and then most of the time Joe Harris is in the mix. Now, do I think that Joe Harris will be removed for Blake at the end of games? No. So I could see Blake Griffin ending a lot of games on the bench. Maybe if he's having a good game, he can be a kind of that 4th ball handler. But even if you put him in over DeAndre Jordan, man, I mean, that defense is going to be rough. But at the same time, I mean, I think having Blake there as just a depth option, having a former All-NBA, multiple-time All-Star, is good. It's just nice to have. And hopefully this could be a kind of a nice revitalizing situation for Blake, and he could play to the best of his capabilities. So, yeah, the Nets still have their defensive problems. They still maybe need a few more shooters. But getting Blake, although it doesn't address any of that, is still a good signing. But yeah, those are the stuff going on in the NBA right now. Let me know down below what you guys think. And we're going to get into this. We're going to get into my power rankings. Like I said before the show, this is sort of not have to do with like what happened in the past week. So it's not like I'm moving people down and moving people up. This is basically kind of a reset because we're at the halfway point of the season. And I'm going to give you the best teams kind of so far this year for me from 10 to 1. This is a very fun list for me. And if you see a team that has kind of a better record than another team, just say that I think that they have been a better team this season so far, based on like what I've looked at, based on stats and all that, and based on the eye test, of course. So We're going to go 10-1. This is going to be a fun list. So let's get right into it. It's coming in at number 10 to start off in for the second half of the season. Going into the second half of the season, actually, is the San Antonio Spurs. They are currently 7th in the West. And they've honestly been one of the most surprising teams in the NBA so far. The way that they're doing it is playing well on the defensive end. They're top 10 in that. Pretty average offense, being 20th. But they gain good productions from all over the place. DeJounte Murray having a career-type year. DeMar DeRozan, like I said, should have been in the All-Star game instead of Mike Conley. Having a fantastic season. And then just getting some good contributions from people like Keldon Johnson, Patty Mills, Lonnie Walker, LaMarcus Aldridge, Derek White. That's 7 guys on their team that's scoring over 10 points per game. And that's what's what annoys you about this team, because you could shut down DeMar. You could try to shut him down as much as he wants, but he is a willing passer, and the other guys around him are making buckets, which is what is keeping them alive here. Like I talked about before, I'm not going to doubt this team making the playoffs anymore, especially if it's led by Greg Popovich still. Can never doubt this team. Very surprised that I'm very happy that they proved me wrong from the preseason. I got the Spurs at 10. Going in at number 9, we have the Denver Nuggets. Right now, they said 21-15. That is 6th place in the West. I mean, they're not meeting the expectations I had in the in my preseason picks. I thought they were going to be the number 1 team in the West and just take the NBA by storm. That hasn't been the case, but it's still a really fun team to watch. They've been very good. Nikola Jokic, this guy is an absolute monster. He like I said, if the season ended today, he has a very good case for MVP. Being 6th place though, I think won't have him win it, but I think he's honestly top 2 up there with Joel Embiid because he has been that good. Jamal Murray has been kind of up and down this year. I think he's okay. I mean, the good thing about the Nuggets is that they play good on both sides of the ball. I mean, they're a bit above average on defense, very good offense, but they've just had stretches where they just kind of fall off a bit and then come back up. Fall off a bit, come back up. And they just need to find that consistency for the second half of the season. Again, they're just getting good contributions all around. Michael Porter, almost 15 points a game. Jamal Murray, even though he's averaging 22, I wish he was a bit more consistent in his play. And, yeah, they're just a really good team. They have an MVP candidate. That's why they are number 9 on my power rankings. Coming in at number 8, we have the team who is right in front of them, actually. The Portland Trailblazers. 21-14, 5th in the West. And what I've been most impressed about them is that they've been playing super well through all the injuries that they had this season. I mean, it's been a while since we saw Jusuf Nurkic on the court. It's been since mid-January since we've seen CJ McCollum, and he was having an All-Star type year. But somehow, someway, Damian Lillard and his another MVP level season, 30 points a game, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, has led this team to the 5th seed, which is absolutely crazy. And he's getting good contributions from people like Gary Trent, who actually is taking advantage of this opportunity without CJ, and he's looking really, really good. Enes Kanter, I believe, is in like top 2 or top 3 in rebounding. Carmelo Anthony coming off the bench and scoring 14. Like, this team is an impressive bunch. And when you're at the end of the game, I mean, as long as they keep it close, I trust that Damian Lillard is going to go out there and just take them over the hump. And that's what happened a couple times this year, and that has led them to wins. And this is like I said, without CJ McCollum, without Jusuf Nurkic, they're still playing very well. And I've been very impressed by kind of how they've been able to kind of track their way through the season without those 2 guys for the majority of it. So, the Trailblazers, number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year's number 1 record in the league. 22-14 right now, 3rd place in the East. And this team has had an up and down season. But I think this team, although they've been playing up and down, is kind of the way I expected them to play. Now, they've had some injuries. Obviously, I think Jrue Holiday missing for a good chunk of those losses does make a difference. But at the same time, I do not see them as really true Eastern Conference contenders. I see them as still like a top 7 team in the league, at least this season. But, you know, it's nothing really changed with this team. I mean, another good year for Middleton, 20 points per game, basically 50, 40, 90. Giannis Antetokounmpo having MVP type numbers once again, but they just haven't taken that next step. They really haven't. I have a feeling that they're going to have a massive second half of the season, especially with the way they ended the first half. So that's something to look out for. But at the end of the day, they're going to have to really show me something in the second half that tells me that they are one of the top contenders in the East. Because their defense has actually kind of taken a dip. Like they're usually a top 5, top 3 defense every year, at least the last few years. But now they're kind of 12th. That's kind of an issue for them. And then their offense is still doing well, but there's still like some kind of glaring holes in this team that I don't think they've addressed yet. Hopefully they can figure it out for the second half of the season and kind of prove me wrong on this. But right now, I have the Bucks at 7. Coming in at number 6, we have the LA Clippers. Yes, the number 4 team right now in the Western Conference. They're 24-13. Very good team. They've been very good this season. They continue to play well on the offensive end, top 3 offense. Pretty below average defense, but let's be honest, with their top guys being the way they are, I think if they really put their mind to it, they could be a top 10 defense. They've kind of had some rough patches, a lot of that being because Paul George and Kawhi Leonard both have been in and out of the lineup due to injury. So it hasn't been kind of a consistent 5 for at least the most part. But at the same time, they've been playing really well. They've been under the radar. They've had a couple bad losses over these last few weeks, which is why I couldn't put them higher. But still, the Clippers are there. I think they're one of the top threats to the Lakers because of their talent and kind of the way that their team is structured. And they're kind of in the Lakers' boat in the sense where we don't care what the Clippers do in the regular season. Can they do it in the playoffs? Are they going to be able to do it? I don't know yet. But they have, again, another year of high expectations. I think they're going to be a lot more cohesive going into the playoffs, which is good. But it's going to, like I said, it's all going to matter what happens in the playoffs. And I can't wait to see that. We have the Clippers at 6. Coming in at number 5, we have the number 2 team in the West right now, the Phoenix Suns. 24-11. They are top 10 on both sides of the ball, which is absolutely crazy for a Suns team. I mean, they're 8th in offense, top 3 in defense, actually. And Chris Paul, I've talked about it way too much on this podcast. The Chris Paul effect is real. Having another fantastic season. The supporting cast, DeAndre Ayton playing very well. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, Dario Saric, and of course, Mr. Devin Booker having another all-star type year. They're a very good team. I'm not going to go too much into it just because I talk about the Suns way, way too much. And they've taken a big jump. I still think they have kind of that experience factor that they're lacking in the sense that their main guys, besides Chris Paul, hasn't really got that much experience. Or actually, they haven't because they haven't made the playoffs in 11 years. I mean, they have Chris Paul and Jay Crowder, but is that really going to be enough to make you into a on a deep run? I don't know yet. Maybe they continue to show out and prove me wrong in the second half of the season, but right now, I have them at number 5. So at number 5, the Phoenix Suns. Coming in at number 4, we have the Los Angeles Lakers. Number 3 team in the East, in the West right now, 24-13. I still think they're probably the Western Conference, the Finals favorites. LeBron James having another MVP type season. Anthony Davis playing very well before he went down with injury. Montrezl Harrell having a good year, obviously. Dennis Schroeder. I think they're probably one of the most well-equipped teams going into the playoffs, but health is the biggest issue here. Health is the biggest issue here. If Anthony Davis can be healthy, like after he comes back from the injury, I think like I said, they're going to be title favorites. But that's always going to be a question mark with Anthony Davis. So it's all about him getting healthy. I think the Lakers, if they could somehow get maybe one more person in the buyout market, that would maybe solidify them even more as number 1. But right now, with the way they're playing this season, very especially this last month or so, pretty rough stretch there. I can't put him top 3, but I'll have him at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the number 1 team in the East right now. We have the Philadelphia 76ers. I talked about this on my podcast quite a bit, but I was kind of a year too early on the 76ers. Maybe having Brett Brown there, I'm not going to say was a problem, but maybe the change in coaching really helped make a difference here. Joel Embiid having an MVP type season. Ben Simmons, one of the best defenders in the league. I would consider him top 3. And they're just a really, really good bunch of players. Tobias Harris having an kind of a really good year in general. And they're getting, production from people like Steph Curry, Shake Milton, Danny Green, Maxey, Korkmaz. Very, very happy that they're getting this production from them. And, they've just been really, really good this year. Number 1 team in the East for a reason. I still don't have them as the best team in the East in terms of these power rankings, but record-wise, they have it right now. The 76ers, I talk about them a lot in this podcast too. But MVP looks like he's going to win the MVP. And man, the 76ers, if they can continue this, if they can stay healthy for the rest of the season, they could be a dangerous team in the playoffs. They really can. But right now in the power rankings, I have them number 3. Coming in at number 2, we have, for me, the best team in the East. We have the Brooklyn Nets. And this is what's crazy about this team is that they play, with KD out of the lineup, especially in and out this season. They've still been fantastic. James Harden, I can't believe I'm saying this, is having an underrated year. 25 points a game, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. He's been playing out of his mind. Kyrie Irving, another underrated season, 27, 6, and 5. This team is filth. This team is absolute filth, and this is most of the time without Durant in the lineup. They are the number 1 offensive team in the league with a bullet, and they're one of the most dangerous teams going into the playoffs. They are a dangerous, dangerous team here, especially if they can get one more big from the buyout market. Like I said, all they need is someone like a JaVale McGee, man. That's all they need. And I think they could be a damn good competition for the Los Angeles Lakers. They're a fun team to watch, too. If you see them play, James Harden and Kyrie Irving kind of both doing their thing. Joe Harris, some games just goes absolutely off from 3. And now add Blake Griffin to that mix. This is going to be fun. I didn't mention this earlier in the Blake Griffin segment, but man, seeing Lob City back together, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin together is going to be very, very interesting. But yeah, man, this Nets team, they are the most dangerous team out in the East. And dare I say, is going to be the toughest competition for the Lakers if it gets to that point. So, number 2 in my power rankings, we got the Brooklyn Nets. And at number 1, it really couldn't be anyone else at this point. Give me the Utah Jazz. They're 27-9, the best record in the league by 3 or 4 games. They've been absolutely fantastic on both sides of the ball. The best 3-point shooting team in the league. I think they're still number 1 in makes. Yes. Top 3 in percentage. A very good defensive team. Top 3. And then also the second best offense. What more can you say about this team? They're playing cohesive. They're getting career years out of so many people. Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley being an all-star this year. Joe Ingles being very good. Bogdanovich, obviously, has been awesome. Gobert's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year. And Mitchell just continuing to grow as an all-around player. This team is dangerous. Now, the playoffs are going to be a whole different story and how they're going to fare there. But so far in the regular season, man, they have been the most dangerous, the most fun to watch. One of the most fun teams to watch. And they're leading the league with a bullet for a reason. Point differential, they tend to blow out teams a lot. And they're just a really good team. Quinn Snyder has done a really good job kind of making these pieces work together. And who knows? The Utah Jazz, if they can carry this momentum into the All-Star, not the All-Star, into the playoffs, the way that they hit threes, could be a huge difference maker in this in the playoffs. So, yeah, the Utah Jazz, kind of with a bullet, the number 1 team in the NBA so far this season. But yeah, those are my power rankings. Let me know down below what you guys think. Agree or disagree. Let me know. If you want to shoot me a DM and stuff like that, I'll definitely do the same there. But yeah, this was definitely fun to make. I'm starting from next week. It's going to be, the power rankings are going to be based on this. So if teams go down because of a bad week and stuff like that, will be based on this week. It's basically a new list. But yeah, this is definitely fun to make. But I think we're going to end this week's episode. I'm not going to do a pick of the week until maybe Wednesday. Who knows? I might just do it again on Friday, because my pick of the week for the weekend was the LeBron team LeBron Team Durant. I had Team LeBron winning -2.5, and I won that quite comfortably. So yeah, that was really easy. But I'll continue the TV's Power Rankings not Power Rankings, pick of the week on Friday again. Check me out on Project Drivel's podcast on Friday, I think, if we're still doing it. So if you want to see kind of my picks there as well. But this is where we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to follow at TV on Basketball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates on the podcast and just other great content, especially on my Instagram. It's some really good content over there. I'm going to be back on Friday with another podcast. And just check me out on Project Drivel every Friday as I talk to Tony Tucker about basketball. And yeah, just continue to show your support on the podcast channels. Like, share, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. I really do appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for all the support. Just over 2,500 downloads. I think now we're in March. I just realized we had over 2,000 something downloads just from like this past calendar year, and I want to thank you guys so much for all your support and just giving me a platform to talk what I love to talk about, which is basketball. But yeah, I think this is where we're going to today's episode. Appreciate all of you. Hope you all have a fantastic day. TV signing out. Take it easy, guys. Peace.